Okay, so stream is now working. Hey everyone, this is Smedwicks. I'm doing this for site I'm working on, 0 Second Cooldown .blogspot.com, a little mobile tech and games blog I'm working on with a friend, but also just doing this just to show off Pikmin 3 because I really enjoy this game and thought I would just show a little look at it because it's really good Wii U game, like the only one out there right now, but worth getting. But so yeah, I've already gone through most of the game. I just have the very last area to go through. So I mean, I'm not gonna show the final boss off or anything, because I mean, even though I'm sure most people watching won't have a Wii U or get this, I mean, that's already a rough thing for me to try doing without streaming. That'll make it even harder trying to explain things and then doing the final boss. So I'm going to show off mission mode and probably do 1 or 2 stages, sort of see how that goes. So you have 3 different selections. You got collect treasure, which you just collect treasure to try to get a high score. Battle enemies, again, battle enemies get a high score and defeat bosses. We won't be going into that though. So I ended up doing all of these battle enemies ones with a friend. So I'll try this stage 3, collect treasure, and sort of explain some of the mechanics as I go along, just sort of show off how nice this game is in general. It's a really good game. So you got your 3 captains, and it sort of plays like a general Pikmin game for anyone who's played it. I'm using the gamepad because it puts me in an easier position to try and do this without having to rely on it is very hard to speak and play Pikmin at the same time, so my apologies. But I mean, I'm doing this because it puts me in an easier position without having to be like facing the TV or anything. So the whole purpose of this, sort of following the main game itself, is you're just sort of collecting treasure. And so, like, one of the main things you use is throwing your Pikmin to get them to do different tasks. Like right now, I'm having them break down a wall. Like 2, do you mean like Pikmin 2? Oh, yeah, it sort of is like the dungeon from Pikmin 2, but you're not really focusing, in the main game you're not focusing on trying to get all this treasure, really. I mean, you're collecting fruit, so you sort of are collecting treasure, but you are not, it's not as big a focus as in 2, where the whole game for 2 was have to get all this treasure, like sort of not as quickly as possible, but you you tried to get it pretty quick. But so for those of you who haven't played with the gamepad, you can with R aim. That makes it sort of useful. Not as useful as, because I tried with the Wiimote the other day, and that is because you need to for multiplayer. That's probably the best way to play it. I highly recommend that. And so red Pikmin are sort of the bread and butter Pikmin, so to speak. Those ones that Captain Charlie, the other character who's up there, sort of auto-pulling, are the wing Pikmin. They're one of the new ones for the game, and they can go over water. They're not the best fighters, but they definitely have their niche in a lot of boss fights. So the interesting thing about this game that you don't have in the other Pikmin games is that you have to sort of micromanage 3 different characters, which is definitely something that, I mean, you had with 2 in Pikmin 2, but it definitely wasn't as big of a thing, I feel. Like, there was never a big focus on trying to split up your days between working with 2 different characters, while with this, there's definitely a lot bigger of a purpose of trying to use all of your captains like as best as possible, like to get the most out of your days, essentially is how it would work. because there isn't exactly a strict harsh time limit in Pikmin 3, but the days do feel rather short, so there's a big idea of you need to get as much as you can out of your days collecting your fruit. And even like here, you have a time limit for each mission, so some of them are kind of long, some of them are pretty short, so I'm forgetting. I haven't played this in a few days, so. And yeah, and every enemy here is very brutal. This is basically, as I like to jokingly describe it, Nintendo's Dark Souls, and the fact that every enemy is just a complete monstrosity. So, again, pardon for being on the quieter side, but sadly I don't have someone to sort of go back and forth with to try and get something actually out of this, because being a bit more of a micromanagey game, it's really tough to multitask with this. But I think the addition of the extra captains is definitely something really, like, neat in this game, because it really does bring about a really great evolution for this game that I don't think I ever really thought about before, especially not with in Pikmin 1 or 2. Yeah, it feels really great to have all three captains. I mean, it does take a little bit of getting used to. I mean, it definitely took me, like, even within the first number of days, I wasn't really making full use of the sort of crew you have. I mean, in the story mode, you don't have all three captains at first. You have one for the first few days, then you end up getting your second, and then because I messed up on where to go, I didn't have all three in mind for a while. So, but yeah, I mean, like, I think it's definitely a great evolution in a way. Playing co-op mission mode with a friend, it really feels like this is sort of the evolution that Pikmin could go in. Like, I really feel that the game could have been balanced and made with co-op in mind, and that would have been a really great way to go about it. I mean, despite the fact that it did make a lot of the bosses really easy, but I mean, they aren't balanced with having two people sort of Zerg rushing bosses. But I would love to see a Pikmin 4 that does have a co-op story mode to sort of go with, because that would just be, it would be kind of strange, but I mean, with views, I mean, I think 3 players working this would be, like, say, 2 on the TV screen and then 1 using the gamepad. But I think that would just definitely be a really great use of not only the gamepad, but also bringing the local multiplayer that I think Nintendo has been doing really well with lately. But I mean, this game, I've been huge Pikmin fan ever since 1 came out for the GameCube, despite not exactly being the best at it, because I was a young kid and I was not great at strategy games. But it's, but I feel that this is definitely a game that, while waiting so long for the Wii U, or waiting so long for this on the Wii U, was not the best. I mean, like many other people, I wasn't exactly happy hearing that it's nearly a full year delay, we'll say, just because this is just it's 3 months now since the Wii U was launched last year, and this is their sort of their big showcase title that didn't come out until just now. But it's, in a way, it was definitely worth the wait, because I've just had an absolute blast with this game the entire time so far. Like, it just oozes like the great, like, Pikmin, like, Miyamoto charm. another mechanic that they added. They got rid of the swarm mechanic. The swarm mechanic was you use the C-stick to sort of control your Pikmin. Story mode definitely feels full enough. I'm on, I think, day 45, and I'm on the final area. I've collected everything except for... I've done everything except for the last area, and it's definitely felt like there's been definitely enough. I mean, it feels in a way a bit short, but at the same time, like, I'm not complaining in the slightest because I've probably spent about at least maybe 15 hours on this game so far, and I felt that it's just definitely been a fantastic experience. Like, I feel like my $60 was, well, I mean $10 because I use a gift card, but I mean my money with this game was incredibly well spent. I have absolutely no complaints. So yeah, my time limit is starting to wrap up in this, so I'll do like another map or two in mission mode. Can't really show off any co-op, and I'm not going to show off the bosses really. Yeah, I think mission mode is definitely something that's sort of tuned around having sort of like having another person with you, because doing it co-op, and it felt once I got into a groove, it felt a lot easier to do. But yeah, I mean, all of the Pikmin campaigns, story modes, have been really fantastic, I thought. I mean, this one probably is a bit shorter than 2, but I mean, I definitely have gotten a great amount of time out of it, especially compared to 1, because you have basically a 99-day limit, so you probably won't need all of those days, but I mean, you have that limit, so in a sense, there is no time limit. And you can also, what I didn't do, you can check leaderboards and such, and sort of see how well each person does stack up against you. And so, once you complete one stage of mission mode, you unlock the next one. So I'll go to enemy battling. We'll see. I'll go to the sort of the same location. The swarm mechanic, it was like, it was good because the pathing that the Pikmin use wasn't the best, so you would use it to sort of line your Pikmin up so they wouldn't, like, there were some puzzles in Pikmin 1 where you sort of had to use that swarm mechanic to make sure, like, they would stay in a straight line, like, across, like, a very narrow edge and stuff like that. And it was also good for getting Pikmin out of the way, and it does definitely feel a bit missed in here, but I mean, you're sort of trading that mechanic so you can have free camera control, and I definitely think that's a pretty fair trade-off. And so, for the battle enemies, you're basically trying to get rid of as many enemies as possible, in theory, the whole map, within your time limit, and that's 8 minutes. Doing this with a friend, I nearly did the whole... We were like 2 or 3 enemies away. So, I mean, this one in particular isn't that bad, but I mean, these are definitely, like, there's a lot of replay value out of the fact that you can just play this and you can get so much out of it, because you can just try and either beat it or that turned out a lot better than expected. Oh gosh, this is sort of where the chaos of Pikmin goes in, but it's just so wonderful, is this strange strategy of something could mess up at any moment, and you sort of have to live with your consequences of a battle goes wrong, and there's not much you can really do about it at that point. You're just sort of stuck with, if you messed up, then you've just messed up. And I think that definitely embodies a very un-Nintendo sort of feeling in present day, but it works really well. Don't worry, the main story mode isn't anywhere near as bad, except for the final area is rather rough. But I mean, I haven't taken too many serious attempts at it. I still need to go back and do that, and hopefully I'll beat that. So I'll explain, because I don't think... I'll talk about a little bit about the new Pikmin, Rock Pikmin, because I talked about the Wing Pikmin. Rock Pikmin are used to, as probably seen in a lot of pre-game material. They're used for breaking like the crystal and glass objects. But they're also really useful for sort of busting down enemies. They can't be squashed either, so that makes them probably one of the most useful Pikmin types, just because they can be eaten, but they can't be squashed, and a lot of big enemies will try and stomp on you. So that just is probably one of the most useful things. Hopefully that phone wasn't heard, and if it was, then my bad. But yeah, I think mission mode is definitely something tuned towards having multiple players on it, because otherwise it gets just very rough to manage your time. And especially in maps like this where you have all three of your captains split up, it's very easy to get sidetracked and lost on when to go and where. So yeah, while the rock Pikmin are great for say glass objects, they're not that great for just dirt walls like this. They don't do that great on that. This guy is really being a menace. And this is one of those parts where the game of Pikmin can just go horribly awry in an instant. And the swarm mechanic also, to continue on that, was really good for sort of moments like this, where things are just sort of going badly, and you're able to direct your little Pikmin crew out of harm's way as need be. And mostly without a hitch, that went off, so... I don't think this will go much better. Yeah, the red Pikmin are the much better brawlers of the 5 groups. They do the most damage generally. Of course, they are just as vulnerable to being eaten by enemies as any other Pikmin, and everything on this planet is out to kill you in one way or another. I'm gonna retreat from that because that's not gonna end well in the slightest. Oh, but I have backup. But overall, I think for anyone who would have a Wii U or is even interested in a Wii U, this game may not necessarily be a big system seller, but I think it is definitely, at least to me, probably one of the best games of this year, just in terms of how nice it looks, and just in general, it plays very well. Like, I haven't had many gripes regarding like any type of controls, really. So overall, like, it's just a very solid. Yeah, the red Pikmin are always just the strong men of the group in the past games. And they do have, while they aren't featured in the main story that much, the mission modes do have the purple and white Pikmin from Pikmin 2. So, I mean, they are there. I haven't really used them, I don't think. I never really were able to. Maybe they're on later treasure maps or something, I'm not sure. But Also, there is an auto pluck, so you hit once, and you will just start plucking automatically, which is incredibly useful and probably like the best addition to the game. Like you lose a few things in terms of you lose swarm, and maybe the controls, the charge controls are a bit odd at times. Sometimes you'll just dismiss your Pikmin. I've had that problem using the Wiimote and Nunchuck. I would just accidentally dismiss instead of charging. But I mean, overall, there have been a lot of additions that have more than made up for the few shortcomings. That was not good. This was a bad plan. There's not much that can be done anymore. Pikmin 3 can sometimes not be for the faint of heart. Yeah, see, it's very interesting because in the past games there were, I think skitter leaves they're called. They were just green and they wouldn't do anything to you. But in this game, which was a big surprise, is these brown ones are evil leaves that will eat all your Pikmin, given the chance. So I'll show the leaderboard, like the rankings. Yeah, so I mean, at least for the bosses, they show all the times and sort of bell curve, which is actually really nifty. Maybe I'll do one of those real quick, because I don't think I've been doing this for too long. So I'll show off just the first boss. But yeah, these mission modes are definitely a great way to sort of see how well you do in the Pikmin game, sort of show how good of a Pikmin player you are, which I'm not sometimes. So going straight to that, so that way no one really can see what the final bosses are. So yeah, this is the first boss. Sort of, it was seen during E3 time. Well, thank you, the Armored Maudad, but I'll just sort of show it off here real quick. I was able to beat it pretty quickly in co-op. And yeah, they give you a time limit for the bosses, which I think is really interesting, in a sense, sort of unexpected, but it makes it a better challenge. That's a glass shell, so you use a rock Pikmin for that. This is your first real boss, and even in the prior Pikmin games, there weren't that many like true bosses, I would say. Like, you had very tough big enemies, but I don't think anything that would quite I would quite consider a boss. So the whole purpose of this is to just throw your rock Pikmin at the shell, and then sort of try and not die too badly. Then sort of eventually you'll start throwing Pikmin at the actual body itself. So it's sort of a simple boss, and the bosses really ramp up in really interesting ways on the later bosses, which I would love to show maybe some point in the future. I'll do another video of that, because they get pretty tough as time goes on. The next to last boss is an absolute killer, but I mean, I sort of liken them to WoW raid bosses in the fact that they sort of have phases, and they'll do certain things as you do more damage and as time goes on. That's sort of really interesting that I wouldn't expect to have seen from Pikmin. Ooh, that was not. And then you get sort of chaotic moments like this. The nice thing about having new controls is that whistle goes just about everywhere and makes it really easy to recover your lost team when moments like this happen. Yeah, many games do have like phases for bosses, but I mean, you don't really see them much in Nintendo games. Like, yeah, you would see it like in a Metroid Prime, but it's just something, at least to me, I wouldn't expect to necessarily see that in Pikmin. So I think Pikmin, sort of you're collecting things as time goes on. Like, you have to collect a certain amount of things, a certain amount of days. There are a lot of really tough enemies, but I didn't quite expect traditional boss formats in the way that they presented it here. Of course, as you start breaking it up, it starts to get faster, and then, but it also becomes more vulnerable. Sort of at a point where the fight starts to, in a sense, wear down. Also in the game, you collect an item, you get essentially a dodge roll, which I think sort of makes up for the lack of swarm by, even though you don't have swarm, you sort of have that item if you collect it, which I think it can be missable. Yeah, boss battles aren't exactly. Yeah, there's dodges that you hit right or left on the D-pad, you sort of get this little nifty dodge. It's an item you collect, so I think it can be missable. I don't know, I just sort of found it and was like, okay. So I mean, those dodges sort of do make some battles a bit easier. Not even just boss battles, but even just your average fight can be made a lot easier. That's not good. That was really close. Almost lost a bunch of Pikmin there. Yeah, that's sort of the thing that I think is nice, is that since enemies sort of, like, all the enemies in the Pikmin universe are generally bigger and a lot more for you than you can really handle, even with a big group of, like, say 100 like I'm using now. I'm sort of still having a little bit of trouble. But I mean, yeah, they do a lot of good with this game, I think. It was sort of a game I've been waiting for the longest time, and it became this thing of, will this game be as good as I'm hoping it'll be? And it definitely has exceeded all expectations so far. And I'm losing Pikmin, but boss is almost down. And so that's basically the, in a sense, a boss rush mode. You don't have to go through all of them at once, but, I mean, you can have the option to play bosses over. So I lost 5 Pikmin, 5 minutes 12 seconds to get a bronze. Not too bad. And then, like you see there, you can just sort of see, yeah, the Pikmin death animation just really makes you feel like a bad person when you let them die. Sort of what the scores are like for how each person goes. So for solo, like, no one's beaten it in less than 15 seconds. I think you can see the co-op bell curve. My best time was 3:10, so you sort of see not as many people sort of beat the average. And there I am, a bit behind the average, so yeah, that's sort of a just a little quick look at Pikmin 3. You know what, maybe I'll see one more map, get out of there. So it's a quick map. Let's have a minute with it. Yeah, I don't even see how that works. I'm guessing that's some sort of hacking or something. I have no clue. Maybe people are just far better. So yeah, I'll do this this last stage, I guess, sort of show off a bit of this is like a beginner mission mode stage. It does have tough enemies, but I mean, it's quite a bit more manageable. So we'll sort of see. I'll sort of just show off sort of basics. This is sort of just your basic Pikmin. So the pellets, you collect them. So you get more Pikmin, basically. That's how it works. Collecting pellets of the same color nets you more Pikmin. So that's just a helpful note for any non-Pikmin vets. And certain enemies, generally smaller enemies, do have that thing where you hit them on the head, direct hit. You do get an instant kill, which is pretty nice. Yellow Pikmin are invulnerable to electricity, and they also have a much higher jump arc. And over there you can sort of see because generally the mission modes have a boss enemy. So that is this one's boss enemy, the baldy long legs. Hopefully we can get a better view. I'm not gonna fight it because that thing is really rough. So I'm just gonna. Bomb rocks can be used by any Pikmin now, which is a new thing, but also definitely much nicer. You don't have to rely on yellow Pikmin, and if you run low. Oh, that long legs is generally a more boss type enemy, but it's not a boss fight in the Pikmin 3 sense of how there are certain bosses in each area. And you have to sort of seek them out, and they're sort of just when you're complete with the area, you'll get to them. Oh, there it is. Jeez. I sort of liken some of the bosses in a way, like some of these bigger enemy designs, to these almost Dark Soul-esque designs of how these things are just so much more powerful than you, and just so destructive looking. Not destructive looking, but just so terrifying. That, sure, I'll go Striders in Half-Life 2. My Half-Life 2 knowledge isn't that up to par. Ooh, and hopefully that bomb rock doesn't mean that I can't, or that gate means I can't get past that, hopefully. That'd be really bad, because I used that bomb rock on that Bulborb. So the jump arcs can be a bit deceiving, but they're generally right. I mean, like I think that's my biggest complaint with this game is that sometimes I just sort of goof up on the jump arcs. That's probably more my own being bad at it than anything else. You can, I haven't shown off much, but you can lock onto enemies, even just for throwing. That makes it very useful. So maybe I'll try and take this on. I forgot you need to have him go up the legs, and that's not going to be happening anytime soon. Able to meet up with the rest of my group here. Yes, those butterflies, I didn't know that before, are counted as enemies in the mission mode. That thing is getting way too close for my comfort. Yeah, that thing ruins days, I think. Back there. Back. Yeah. 2 orange Bulborbs at once is not something to want to have to deal with. Oh, jeez. And I have... This is a very confusing mission mode. He's just up there just duking it out. done. Yeah, overall, I feel like I can't say enough good things about this game in a way. Not to sort of be too fanboyish about it, but I mean, this is overall a very solid game, and if this is any indication of what we're to expect from Nintendo first party, even in terms of somewhat in terms of graphical power, but in terms of what can be done gameplay-wise, which is mostly more of the same, but overall I just think it's just a very solid game. It has been too long in the making. So now that the minute is sort of coming down, it's going to be more of a how quickly can I just kill as many enemies. Let's see if we can get him down real quick. Too little, too late. So yeah, even the first stage of the mission mode can be a bit rough. It is definitely, I think it is something you have to really plan out in advance of how you're going to go about this. Go look at the, try this, I think, oh yeah, I never did this one before. Yeah, I mean, I think more people are doing this co-op, I would imagine, but who knows. I mean, overall, I think the mission mode is one of the best parts about this game, as great as the campaign is. So that's my look, a little look to give you all at Pikmin 3. For those few of you who've joined the Twitch.tv stream, thank you very much. I'll be putting this on YouTube and featuring this on the blog, which I might link on Twitter or something. So yeah, just thank you very much, and I'll stream again something for the my blog.